Good morning, friends. This is Brian McCarthy with Compass Residential in Hoboken. Hope everybody's well. Today is Friday, April 1st. Happy Fool's Day out there. Today, I want to check in at the beginning of the month here to kind of wrap up or at least review some of the trends that I've been seeing in the market around here in all of New Jersey or in New Jersey as a whole, and then Hudson County and then Hoboken. I see a few things that have been going on for years, and I kind of want to analyze that so we can look ahead and maybe predict a little bit what's going to happen here for the rest of the year. So without further ado, I just kind of want to start this off. I wish we had stats already for March, but it's a little too early for those. So I'm going to review some stats from February. That's kind of the most recent month that we have complete data for. And what I've been seeing here is, and from the Association of Realtors, is that even ahead of the spring selling market, which is typically the highest around here, home sales are already up 6.7%. At least it was at the end of February. And that's across New Jersey. And much of this growth people are attributing to increasing mortgage rates. A lot of buyers are scrambling pretty much to lock down a house as soon as they can before they get any higher. And 30-year fixed rate mortgages are, well above 4% right now and have been for a while, which is the highest it's been since May 2019. So if we're looking back historically, it's still very low and very affordable. But now that we're ticking up near 5%, we are on kind of a steady rise, whereas in the past, we've always kind of been pretty even, at least for months at a time. Inventory right now, contrary to home sales being up, inventory is very low. And as long as inventory is low, it's going to keep competition high, absorption rate very low, and home prices relatively high as well. Right now, we're at an all-time low of 860,000 as of February, which is down 17% from a year ago, which is equivalent to 1.6 months of supply. So pretty much, again, what that means is, if you've never heard this before, if no other listings came out in the market, everything would be snatched up and gone in 1.5 months. Very, very fast. And what we have been seeing here is that a lot of the new inventory where it's increasing is in the upper ends of the market. So the more expensive homes, and the lower end of the market, homes are just disappearing very, very quickly. They're getting snatched up very fast. A lot of home buyers are kind of getting left in the dust if you're not absolutely ready to jump on the thing that you're going for. And in a lot of markets, sales prices are up. And that's largely because, especially in the more affordable end of the market, a lot of things are seeing multiple offer situations. So I just want to start sharing my screen here and really kind of show you some of the graphs that I'm looking at here over the past couple weeks and months and years to just point out some similarities and some trends that I've been seeing. So this is for the entire state of New Jersey. I kind of like looking at this and then comparing it, seeing what's similar and what's different to our local markets. Obviously, if you're in and around Hoboken and the Gold Coast, you know that a huge percentage of our marketplace is condos as compared to single family homes like the rest of New Jersey. It's just much more densely populated, and that's kind of how people live, as you know, much like Manhattan. And so one of the trends that we've been seeing here, and one of the things, I keep kind of harping on, or at least I revisit pretty much every week, is, I see headlines every once in a while, and I should say pretty often, of people being concerned that this is a bubble. And when I hear bubble, what I think of is something that's about to pop, like the housing market in 2007 and 2008. And if you look at this very, very surface level, there are some similarities, and that is that, home prices have been increasing a lot lately, multiple offers on a lot of the inventory, and it just doesn't seem sustainable. And so in that regard, it is similar, but there are a few things that are very dissimilar that I just want to draw attention to here real quick. And that is just all of the laws that that are in place now that are different from 15 years ago in order to get a home loan. I mean, in 2006 and 7, you literally, I was going to say you have to have a pulse to get a loan, but I mean, you probably didn't. They would give loans to just someone's name on a piece of paper. They had things called ninja loans, no income, no job, and you could get a loan. I mean, it was set up for failure. When there was any adjustment in the market or recession, everything just imploded, as we saw. Nowadays, there are a lot more regulations in place. You can't just have a pulse to get a loan. You need to go through a much more rigorous process that I'm not going to get into. But if anyone's going through it right now or going through it recently, you know that there are a lot of checks and balances in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. And then if we look at the market, the other thing I just want to point out here, and then we'll move on to the stats, is that I feel like this pricing appreciation is going to continue as long as inventory remains low and demand remains high. And those two things, especially in our local market here, like anywhere in Hudson County and Bergen County, really, but especially Hudson County, if you think about it, they really cannot build any more land or real estate. Like if you're in Hoboken or Jersey City, like we are packed in. I mean, they are in Jersey City, they're building high-rise towers left and right. But at the end of the day, adding a couple hundred homes to the market is awesome, but it takes a while, and it doesn't even come near to satiating the demand for the amount of people that live in and around the New York metro area. So demand is always going to be extremely high. There are always going to be a ton of people, ton of buyers looking to buy, and inventory is always going to be tight. It's never going to be able to match that. So it just, think about it from that perspective. So anyway, without further ado, let's get in here. So single family market overview, it's important to look at New Jersey as a whole because this is a big section of the market. And what I see here is new listings always kind of doing this roller coaster ride. But if you look at this from 2019 to 2022, this has, if you look at the peaks, been going down. So new listings come into market, as we saw before, there's just less and less of them. Pending sales, we had a spike in 2020 as soon as things opened up for the first time after the pandemic started. Huge spike here. Kind of saw a similar thing last year in the middle of the year. And that's pretty common. I mean, if we look back and we'll see this, but there is, especially in our area, a big spike of inventory and number of transactions and closings that happen in the spring and summer markets, and then kind of die off in, or not die off, but go lower in Qs 3 and 4. This is a big one here. Median and average sales price since 2019. I mean, just look at this slowly going up. I mean, obviously there's like dips and peaks in here, but if you just look at the overall trend, it is increasing. Percent of list price received also increasing from 99.9% a year ago to 101% this year. Days on market overall decreasing, and affordability index, unfortunately, at least since 2019, where rates were extremely low, a little bit less affordable now. But again, the difference in, I mean, speak to a lender, 4% and 4.5% over the life of a 30-year loan is quite a bit of dough. But if you look at that on a monthly payment schedule, it's really not that much. All right, let's look at the townhouse condo market overview. Similar thing, new listings kind of doing a roller coaster, but overall decreasing. Median sales price and average sales prices trending upward. Percentage of list price received also trending upward. Days on market down. Adult community, I'm sorry guys, I just don't focus on this very much. I don't have clients in this area, but if you'd like to talk about it, feel free to reach out to me. New listings. So this is comparing February from 2020 to 2021 and 2022. You can see that is decreasing. And then year to date, so January through February, also decreasing for single families and townhouses. And this is one graph that I had kind of mentioned before, but here it is visually right here. So historical new listings. So we see these lines right here are, the end of the year. So this is going back 12 years to 2010. We can kind of see this trend here It pretty much happens every year where right in the first quarter to midway through, we see a spike in listings. So if you are looking to buy or sell, this is the time right now to be doing so. The spring market is huge in New Jersey. It's just when everyone's looking to move. It's when, there's a lot of competition, but there's also the most amount of inventory. So the door kind of swings both ways here. We see this literally across the board. And another little trend here that I see also is right here, right about when school starts or summer ends, there are these little spikes in inventory here as well. So although now would be a great time if maybe you're on a lease that you can't get out of or something like that, there is another little spike that happens pretty much every year towards the end where we do see an increase in inventory. So obviously the closed sales is going to kind of follow that as well, because when new inventory comes on, it gets grabbed pretty quickly. But I like to see this graph from 2010. You see this increasing. So even though there isn't much inventory out there, the stuff that does come on gets absorbed. It gets purchased very quickly. And anyone that says like there's no inventory on the market really just isn't looking hard enough, because it does come on. And if you look at even just in the past couple of years, number of closed sales every year has been increasing. So stuff does come on. There are more people buying. Things do sell. It just sells very quickly. All right, let's switch over to Hudson County. We'll focus a little bit more in on my territory and hopefully yours. This is just the one sheet here. But new listings up in the single family. This is February to February and then year to date. So up 10% and then up 2% year to date. Number of closed sales also increased across the board, and days on market up, and median sales price. So all of those metrics up on single families in Hudson County. Townhouses, we have an increase in listings this February compared to last February, but when we look at year to date, so like basically all of Q1, there was a slight decrease. Number of closed sales decrease in both categories here, just month to month and then year to date. And what was the other thing that look at this big number here. So median sales price went from last February at $480,000 in the condo market to almost $520,000. That's an 8.5% increase February to February. And then year to date, it went up 10.5% from below 500,000 to a median sales price of almost 550,000. So, appreciation does happen. If you were someone that bought a place back then, good for you. Oh, one other thing I just thought of, talking about historical, median sales price here and historical median sales price by month. They say, I think it's a national average, and it's probably even lower in our local market here, but people move an average of once every 7 years. So if you look at 2022 and you go back to 2015, the median sales price here, let's just say you bought the average house 7 years ago and you've outgrown it or whatever reason you're looking to move here on the average of 7 years later, the median sales price here, even though it peaks a little bit, let's just say it's about 300,000. If you were to sell today that average house, you would see 150% increase on your return here, about $300,000 to about $450,000. So, I find people think about real estate a little bit too much in the short term. Sometimes, if you're concerned about buying, like, oh man, this bubble that we just talked about, I'm not going to get back into it. Our home price is going to go down again, like next year. I feel like let's not look at it on that micro of a level. If you look back historically here over, who buys a house that you're going to live in and then you sell it, a year later? Not very many people. It's probably not very likely for you unless you have a plan specifically to do that. You have to look a little bit more longer term and realize that even though the market generally does this, like stocks and anything else, as long as you look back far enough and you can kind of extrapolate or just look, from a bigger view, and that home prices are going up, you're likely making a sound investment. So let's just think about things in that regard, shall we? Okay, and then Hoboken, here's another one sheet here, and then I want to wrap up before I get too long-winded like I do on some of these. So single family homes, they're just not very many sales of those. I wish we had a multifamily metric in here, because those, I mean, while not very much more, they probably double what we would see here. But from 10 transactions a year ago to only 3 10 new listings to only 3 this year. Closed sales that happened in February were 0. And then year to date, there were 18 last year, only 6 this year for that single family home. And those that did sell, nothing in February, but year to date, that median sales price went up, almost 25%, from 1.43 to 1.77 million dollars. A lot of people are getting very close to their asking price here. 98.3%. All right, let's look at the townhouse/condo market, which is huge in Hoboken. New listings up this February compared to last February by a little bit, by 5. And then year to date, down a little bit as well, 13% from 263 to 229. Number of closed sales in February, down compared to last February. And also, pretty much even year to date at about 120. Days on market has gone down pretty steeply. Last February, it was 21 days. Now it's 42 average. And year to date, that average was 50, and now it's 41. Median sales price increased from last February almost 2% to $712.5 thousand. And year to date, from 680 to 740. That's a 9% increase. Percent of list price received, 100% compared to 97 last February. And year to date, it was about 97.5, and now it is 100.3. Nothing going on in the adult community here. And let's see, this going back here, historical median sales price by property. I wish we could blow this up a little bit, because even though this seems relatively unmoving, if you look very closely at that dark line, if that's usually what we're buying around here, is a condo that started in 2010 a little bit below half. So I would say maybe $450,000. Now, if we look at the median sales price, it's up here closer to $1 million at $741,000. So, or even over that average 7 years ago, here right around the middle, maybe just a little bit over half. So 550,000 to 600,000. Wise investments to be made around here, people. All right. So that is it for today. Next week, hopefully I have some complete stats to share with you guys for the month of March that just wrapped up. But in the meantime, hope everyone has a fantastic weekend and week. And as always, I'm here for you guys, each and every one of you. So feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text at 617-851-9141, or an email at brian.mccarthy@compass.com, or you can find me on social media at Bry Says, BRYSAYS. Love hearing from each and every one of you. Let me know what you want to hear about, or what's going on in your lives. All right, but everybody take care. Talk to you later.